How did you feel when he first asked for it?
Confused, nervous. I wanted to make him happy.
Did you agree to one when he first proposed it?
Yes. Then there were more. It wasn't something I wanted to do, at least not that frequently.
What started as a high-stakes trial just turned into an all-out celebrity showdown. When 50 Cent walked into that courtroom and publicly backed Cassie, nobody expected what would happen next. But Diddy did, and he snapped. His cool facade shattered in front of the judge, the jury, and the cameras. Tension skyrocketed, security jumped into action, and the entire courtroom held its breath. What did 50 say that pushed Diddy over the edge? And why is this moment a game changer in the case? Stay with us! This is the twist that could flip the whole trial upside down. Day 3 of the Diddy trial. Cassie's bombshell testimony rocks the courtroom. Day 3 of the explosive federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs was nothing short of jaw-dropping. At the center of it all, Cassie Ventura, once his lover, now his most devastating accuser. Taking the stand once again, Cassie delivered chilling, graphic testimony that left the courtroom in stunned silence.
With a recap of what was day 3 in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Once again, the prosecution's star witness, Cassie Ventura, was on the stand, and her testimony was both graphic and disturbing.
A disturbing 2016 hotel surveillance video aired by CNN showed Diddy assaulting Cassie, striking and kicking her as she tried to escape.
The music mogul assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a hotel in 2016. In the video, Combs can be seen striking and kicking Ventura as she tried to leave. I have the video right in front of me.
But what truly shook the courtroom wasn't just the footage, it was Cassie's voice. Her words, raw and unflinching, painted a horrifying portrait of life behind the scenes with the music mogul. With calm resolve, she revealed more than abuse. She exposed a dark world of twisted power games, secret parties, and celebrity guests allegedly drugged and recorded without consent. Then, she named names. One by one, like a dam bursting, identities of victims and participants spilled out, sending shockwaves through the room. Diddy, once the untouchable king of bad boy records, sat just feet away. The swagger was gone. His expression, once ironclad, cracked into visible fear as his empire teetered on the edge of collapse. Texts, audio recordings, physical evidence. Cassie had it all. Was this the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's most powerful figures? Or is an even bigger secret still waiting to be unearthed? Either way, one thing is clear. Cassie's testimony may not just shatter Diddy's legacy, it could end it forever. Everything Cassie revealed, uncut, unfiltered, unstoppable. This is the moment everything changed. Manhattan woke up under a heavy sky, the air thick with anticipation outside the Southern District Court. A sharp wind whipped down the courthouse steps, scattering flyers and lifting protest signs like a warning from the universe itself. Reporters pushed forward, flashes firing like lightning. Activists raised crimson banners screaming justice for Cassie. Across from them, a smaller but defiant group shouted in unison, "They're slandering our king!" One sign toppled in the wind, landing face up on the pavement with a handwritten plea, "The truth will prevail." And then, he arrived. Sean Diddy Combs walked into the courtroom like a man who still believed he ruled the world. Surrounded by a wall of high-powered attorneys, his million-dollar legal team flanked him like a fortress. The look in his eyes? Cold, defiant. He wore his confidence like armor, but that armor was about to crack. On the opposite side of the room stood the woman who had once loved him, and who now threatened to bring it all crashing down. Cassandra Ventura, known to the world simply as Cassie, took the stand. 8.5 months pregnant, dressed in a simple brown gown, she radiated quiet strength. No dramatic makeup, no theatrical tears, just resolve. Her hand rested gently on her stomach, a silent reminder of the life she was protecting while speaking out. Behind her sat her husband, Alex Fine, unwavering in his support. His eyes never left her, a silent force holding her steady as she prepared to relive the trauma the world had never fully seen. This wasn't just another celebrity scandal. This was a reckoning. For over a decade, Diddy and Cassie had captivated the public with a glamorous love story. But behind the designer clothes and red carpets were secrets buried so deep, they were never meant to surface. Until now, because today, everything came into the light. One year ago, Cassie filed a lawsuit. Now she's testifying under oath. Just over a year ago, Cassie Ventura stunned the world with a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs of abuse, coercion, and sexual exploitation, claims the music mogul vehemently denied. The case was settled in just 24 hours, a move so abrupt and suspicious it sent shockwaves through the industry. But that wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Cassie's civil complaint lit the match. What followed was a full-blown federal investigation, unraveling a web of secrets that would soon ignite one of the biggest scandals in entertainment history. Today, Cassie isn't here to settle. She's not filing a lawsuit. She's testifying, in public, under oath. No more silence, no more hiding. She's doing well, her lawyer told reporters outside the courtroom. She had a restful night. She's ready for cross-examination, and we're confident she'll do perfectly. But behind those calm words lies the storm. What really happened behind the closed doors of Diddy's empire? How does a relationship that once appeared glamorous descend into the nightmare Cassie now describes? And the most haunting question of all, how does a woman survive that nightmare for over a decade? This isn't just Cassie's story. It's a story about power, control, violence, and the silence of an industry and a society that looked the other way. For years, the world worshipped the glitz and glamour while ignoring the darkness hiding beneath. Now, pregnant with another man's child, Cassie has given up everything, her privacy, her peace, and the safety of her final trimester, just to speak the truth, to face a courtroom, to relive the most painful chapters of her life, and to finally be heard. Cassie's second day on the stand, the day the mask fell off. Step into the heart of the storm. Day 2 of Cassie Ventura's testimony wasn't just another day in court. It was the unraveling of a myth. The man once crowned a titan of entertainment, Diddy, was being unmasked, not by prosecutors, but by the woman who had lived inside his darkest secrets. At exactly 10:12 a.m., the courtroom fell into a heavy silence as the name Cassandra Ventura echoed through the chamber. 2 prior witnesses had set the stage, but Cassie was the fire. Nearly 9 months pregnant, she walked to the stand like a soldier heading into battle. Her hands shook, but her gaze, piercing, determined. The entire room leaned in. The silence was deafening. You could hear a pin drop. The jurors began gently, almost cautiously. How old are you? 38. What is your profession? Musician and entertainer. And how long were you with Sean Combs? Her voice didn't crack. 10 years, a decade. Not of love, but of survival. In 2006, at just 19 years old, Cassie signed with Bad Boy Records, starry-eyed and full of hope. She thought she was walking into a dream. Instead, she stepped into a nightmare. Love wasn't what she received. It was a leash. Diddy, she said, didn't just control her, he possessed her. Her clothes, her speech, the way she wore her hair, even the color of her nails, always white French tips, was dictated. But it didn't end there. What she described next froze the courtroom. He choreographed everything. even down to her sexual encounters with others, not out of desire, out of submission. These weren't moments of consent. They were performances, staged and recorded for his amusement. She called them freakoffs, disturbing orgies she was forced to participate in while he watched, directed, and filmed. This wasn't kink. This was control, abuse wrapped in designer sheets and celebrity power. To the world, Diddy was a music mogul, a brand, a legend. To Cassie, he was a tormentor, a man who broke her piece by piece under the guise of love and opportunity. On that stand, Cassie didn't just recount her past. She ripped it open for the world to see, and once seen, it could never be unseen. The truth behind the video, Cassie's most devastating testimony yet. The prosecutor queued up a video. As it flickered to life on the courtroom screens, tension thickened in the air. Cassie identified the setting. It was the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. The footage was taken after what she referred to as a freak-off, one of many orchestrated sexual marathons designed and controlled by Sean Diddy Combs. She explained what those events entailed: hiring escorts, coordinating the logistics, preparing the space. Cassie recalled the moment Diddy first proposed the idea. She had been confused, anxious, and unsure, but deeply in love. She only wanted to please him. Despite her discomfort, she agreed. It wouldn't be the last time. Just 6 months into their relationship, Cassie was pulled into a world of disturbing rituals. These freak-offs were not occasional indulgences. They became weekly occurrences, multi-day marathons lasting anywhere from 36 to 96 hours, often taking place in luxury hotels like the Intercontinental, the Trump Gramercy, or the Mandarin Oriental. They operated under fake names, aliases like Jackie Starr or Frank Black, to hide their real identities and intentions. Cassie recounted how Diddy suggested hiring a sex worker to sleep with her while he watched. The suggestion made her stomach churn, but she complied. Not out of consent, but from fear and emotional manipulation. She was young, impressionable, and desperate to maintain his approval. The scenes she described were appalling. Hotel rooms were left drenched in blood, urine, and so much baby oil that the judge had to pause the testimony, unable to stomach the imagery. Cassie was forced to recruit escorts herself through Craigslist and Backpage, then engage in sexual acts with them while Diddy watched or filmed. He controlled every single detail: the scent of the candles, the temperature of the room, the use of Johnson's baby oil for shine and Astroglide for lubrication. If supplies ran out, she had to call the hotel front desk and discreetly request more, always leaving a generous tip. Worse still, he coerced her into taking drugs, ecstasy, cocaine, MDMA, GHB, ketamine, mushrooms, anything that would keep her awake for days on end. She testified about vomiting from the effects of ecstasy and MDA and how GHB sent her heart racing uncontrollably. She hated it but didn't have a choice. There were times when Diddy didn't even need to be there in person. He would monitor her via FaceTime, giving directions remotely, treating her like a puppet in a performance he alone controlled. Cassie said she felt disgusting, gagging, choking, powerless. On one occasion, candle wax was poured onto her skin without her consent. She didn't want it. She never wanted any of it. As she told her story, Cassie instinctively placed her hands over her pregnant belly, an unconscious act of protection, shielding her unborn child from the trauma she was forced to relive. The breaking point came one night in Las Vegas in 2010. Cassie, high on ecstasy, lay helpless on the hotel floor, the dim lights casting an eerie glow around her. Standing over her were Diddy and an escort. What happened next silenced even the most jaded courtroom observers. Without warning, they urinated on her face. Cassie later recalled gagging, her voice trembling as she described the moment. She said she felt filthy, worthless, but also terrified. She believed that if she refused, he would beat her. The courtroom fell into a chilling silence. Even veteran reporters used to dark testimony were visibly shaken by the horror she described. During her testimony, Cassie admitted that there was a time she actually looked forward to what Diddy called the freakoffs. But it wasn't for pleasure. Those disturbing encounters were the only moments she was allowed to be alone with him. In her mind, enduring the abuse was how she proved her love. She believed this was what made him happy. Cassie went on to describe the intense psychological manipulation she endured. Young, naive, and trapped in the grip of a predator, she had no words for what was happening to her back then. She didn't know how to talk to anyone about it. Though she tried to express her discomfort, she explained that fear always held her back. She didn't want to upset him, especially after he had revealed such a dark and twisted side of himself. Over time, fear became her constant companion. Diddy didn't just abuse her, he recorded it. He filmed the freak-offs and used the footage as a blackmail tool, holding it over her like a weapon. One email from 2010 revealed in court showed Cassie pleading with him to stop. His response was chilling. He threatened to release the videos online. She later stated she had deleted them from her own devices, but she lived in constant fear that Diddy still possessed copies of those damning files. Her terror extended beyond herself. Cassie revealed that Diddy had threatened her family, vowing retribution if she ever dared to speak out. She recalled frequent arguments that often turned violent. When they fought, he would drag her across the room or strike her in the head. She received black eyes more times than she could count. The violence wasn't confined to isolated incidents. It was a part of her life for a decade. Cassie described brutal assaults, her head slammed into walls, her body kicked and stomped, thrown down staircases, choked until her vision faded to black. These weren't just physical attacks, they were acts of domination meant to break her spirit. Each assault left more than just bruises. They carved permanent emotional scars. And yet amid all the terror, one memory burned brighter and darker than the rest. It was a nightmare that Cassie said she would carry with her forever. A haunting memory from 2012 at the Four Seasons Hotel. The evening began like so many others in the music industry. An after-party pulsing with energy, filled with stars, champagne, and whispered deals. But everything changed in an instant. Cassie made the mistake of speaking to another music executive. That was all it took. Diddy's famous red carpet smile vanished, replaced by a dark snarl. His fury ignited like gasoline to flame. Without a word, he seized her arm with such force that it left bruises. He leaned in, hissing threats into her ear, while keeping a polished grin for the cameras and the crowd. In the glittering chaos of the lobby, surrounded by celebrities and sycophants, he dragged her like she was nothing more than an accessory. Her cries were lost in the background noise of clinking glasses and hollow laughter. Hotel security finally approached, concern flickering across their faces when they recognized who he was. One guard cautiously asked if everything was okay. Diddy nodded with that same charming mask he wore for the public. That was enough. The guards backed off, not daring to question a man of his stature. No one looked at Cassie. No one asked if she was okay. Upstairs, behind closed doors, the mask came off completely. A champagne bottle soared past her head and shattered against the wall. Lamps were smashed, tables overturned. The room became a war zone. For more than 48 hours, she was a prisoner. Her phone was taken, her freedom stripped away, and the threats never stopped. If she tried to call for help, he warned, there would be consequences. Cassie later confessed she truly believed she was going to die that night. Her voice, barely more than a whisper, forced the courtroom into a stunned, collective silence. Everyone leaned forward, clinging to every word. The next morning, she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, the light pale and unforgiving. She lifted her phone and took photos, bruises coiling around her arms, a split lip, red marks across her neck. She didn't take them for revenge. She took them because she feared no one would believe her without proof. Then came another blow, the 2016 surveillance video. It flickered to life in the courtroom, projected for all to see. Though grainy, it was unmistakable, Diddy dragging Cassie down a hotel corridor. Her body was limp. Her resistance was fading. The prosecutor's voice cut through the silence, sharp and deliberate, asking for the location. Cassie, now composed, answered that it was the Intercontinental Hotel. That night, she said, was the night she tried to escape. But Diddy ripped the phone from her hands, snatched her bag, and stripped her of every chance to flee. The photos that followed hit the courtroom like a tidal wave. Raw, unfiltered images of pain, swollen bruises, a torn lip, a haunted expression frozen in time. One female juror gasped behind her hand, unable to contain it. Two male jurors averted their eyes, visibly shaken by the truth glaring back at them from the screen. Cassie's voice was low, but her words cut deep. She had taken the photos because she knew no one would believe her. That quiet truth shattered the illusion of Diddy's power. In that moment, the music mogul, once untouchable, looked like a man watching his empire collapse. But Cassie didn't just come with memories. She came with proof. Years of carefully saved texts, emails, photos, and audio recordings. Some showed Diddy apologizing for beatings. Others revealed chilling threats to ruin her career. In one message, he even offered her $2 million to walk away silently. Worse still, messages from A-list celebrities surfaced. Rappers, pop stars, producers, all admitting they had witnessed disturbing behavior. It destroyed Diddy's claim that no one ever saw him do wrong. The prosecution read his words aloud, demands for Cassie to recruit women, hidden cameras, violent threats. Photos of her bruises flashed across screens, hospital records, flight logs, and a notebook listing escorts, all pointed back to him. Cassie's voice broke as she described feeling like an object, used and discarded. Yet amid all the horror, she confessed that she had once loved him. The freakoffs, she said, were the only times she felt close to him. That love became her prison. She sobbed as she described the drugs, the control, the pain she endured, hoping he'd boost her career. The courtroom sat frozen. Jurors' eyes glistened. Cassie wasn't just testifying, she was tearing down a myth. Across the room, Diddy sat rigid, the swagger gone. His hands trembled around a glass, his expression hollow. And with every word Cassie spoke, his carefully built legacy cracked deeper. Diddy's eyes were locked on Cassie, a glare sharp enough to pierce through steel, but she never looked back, not once. It was as if his presence was just a shadow she refused to acknowledge. Then, she revealed her secret arsenal, damning text messages, emails, apologies from Diddy for brutal assaults, and chilling threats to end her career. His shock was visible. He had no idea she had been collecting evidence for years. Messages from his inner circle, including celebrities and business associates, confirmed what they'd witnessed at private parties. One, from producer Dallas Austin, even begged Cassie to stay safe. Paired with photos of injuries and hospital records under a false name, a dark and hidden version of Diddy emerged in full view. Cassie went further, naming the people who helped maintain his control. Bodyguards, drivers, a former chief of staff, even a financial handler. When their faces flashed on the screen, Diddy exploded. He jumped to his feet, shouting that it was all a lie, accusing her of trying to destroy him. His lawyer struggled to restrain him as court officers dragged him out. Behind him, his daughters fled the courtroom in tears. His legal team tried to regain control, insisting Cassie was driven by greed, pointing to her $20 million civil settlement and drug use. They painted the 2016 video as a lover's quarrel, not abuse. But their arguments faltered when prosecutors exposed that a defense witness had received money from Diddy himself. Cassie stood firm. She admitted their relationship was wrapped in drugs and sex, but she never wavered on the claims of abuse, rape, and a 2018 assault. A text used by the defense to suggest consent was explained simply, she sent it out of fear. When asked why she didn't leave, her voice broke. Because he threatened that my mother would disappear. The courtroom froze. Outside, support for Cassie exploded online. A post from Alex Fine calling her the strongest woman went viral. Diddy's team fired back, labeling her a manipulator. But inside, his empire was collapsing. Former allies slipped out quietly, abandoning the man they once protected. Cassie's testimony lasted over 4 hours, her pregnant body clearly exhausted. Through tears, she spoke of the freakoffs, of her twisted love for the man she once called Pop Pop, and how she became CC, his puppet. "I did it to make him happy," she said. Cassie's voice trembled, but her message was clear. "I thought I'd never escape. But today, I'm done staying silent." Once a 19-year-old aspiring singer under Diddy's control, she now stood in court as a mother of 2, pregnant with her 3rd, and finally free. Prosecutors laid bare the truth. This wasn't just abuse. It was a system of control. Diddy, then 37, had built a network of enablers, bodyguards, staff, handlers, who helped isolate and intimidate her. If she didn't answer his call, someone would show up. Cassie presented years of evidence, texts, emails, photos, medical records. Even messages from Diddy's celebrity friends confirmed what they'd seen. The courtroom watched Diddy unravel as she named names, his reaction explosive, forcing security to escort him out. Her music career, once full of promise, was crushed under his control. A 10-album deal yielded just 1 release. "I kept waiting," she said, but the freakoffs became a cage. Outside, support surged, hashtags trended, artists spoke out. And through it all, Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, stood by her, a symbol of strength after years of silence. As the day ended, Diddy looked nothing like a music king, just a man cornered by truth. His legacy now hangs in the balance, exposed by the one voice he tried to silence.